Hey, welcome back to As a Man Thinks. Last week we got a lot of reviews. We got a lot of jokes from Courtney being black.
He's still there.
He's still glistening over there.
Still black.
But we talked about raising boys. So the great thing this week is we're gonna go in the other direction. We're gonna talk about the young ladies that we got. So I know Kyrie's gonna have a lot of input in this.
Probably not, Courtney took over, so this is more gonna be his show and Deshaun's show. I'll just be sitting over here not looking as black as Courtney.
I mean, that's normal though. That's normal. He normally
Exactly.
sit there
You normally take over the
with
show
not
and talk.
much of nothing to talk about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, matter of fact, he's an extra.
I
You
ain't-
shouldn't even have just to slide him out. I'll scoot over a little more. We'll have a little bit more room, and we'll go ahead and run this train.
All right, so as a man thinks, so raising girls. Obviously, I got a daughter, but I think about it, and Kyrie, I want you to think about this too. Sometimes raising daughters don't have to necessarily be your daughter. I mean, I can think of at least 3 nieces that I raised and several cousins that I've helped raise, just coming up through the years. But what is the significance between raising girls versus raising boys?
Well, I guess that was pointed toward me because Kyrie,
Right.
he can't help us. Okay.
Right.
Man, so I got 3 girls, and I got 3 teenagers. It's a difference. So we went through all of these processes of, them from being little babies to, growing up to becoming double digits, then from double digits to teenagers, and then I got one daughter that is, almost 18, gonna be an adult. So I went through all the phases of, them getting on their cycle, which was devastating for me. I'm gonna tell you right now, when my daughter came to me and was like, I'm having a period. I'm like, you having a what? So that's still, because at the end of the day, when a woman has a cycle, now, if she was, in a situation with a young man, she could be pregnant. She can get pregnant. So it creates a whole nother synergy just around, your daughter, becoming, older and hormones and wanting to date boys. And I mean, it's just a lot. It's a lot. Y'all just pray for me, man. Pray for me, because I'm telling you, I got 3 of them. 3 of them, and they all teenagers.
All teenagers. Yeah, my daughter's not a teen yet. She's just into the double digits, but going through the getting your period and having to go through that. And
You sound like you struggle to say that, brother.
yeah,
You sound like you struggle to say that.
listen, I don't, but it's true. I mean, once they hit that, now they're into an age where there's so many different things. I remember my boys turned 13. I had this thing where I call it coming into your grown age. For like Jewish people, they call it their bar mitzvah or whatever. Is where you actually just do your introduction to adulthood. So for my boys, we had a box I gave them, and those boxes had a book about being a man. It had a knife in there, but the knife was one way of just showing them how to handle something for protection, but also having something that you can be responsible with and not having it. But for one, it was really transitioning into being an adult. And I'm giving that to my wife because, my daughter, I don't necessarily know how to handle that. How do you handle here's a bag of tampons, or what do you do? How do you handle that?
I know my daughters call me now and be like, hey, Dad, can you bring me some tampons to work? Hey, Dad, can you drop off some tampons at school for me? And I'm just like, yep. I become a pro now because, I mean, what can you do? What can you say?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you love your kids, and this is part of life, and they got to go through it even though it's uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. But I mean, the question I would ask is, Kyrie, when you first had your period, how was that?
I wouldn't
I just want to know.
I wouldn't.
I just want to know, how was it? I mean, can you give us a description of how it was when you first had yours?
I wouldn't know.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering.
I wouldn't know.
Just wondering.
The jokes never end. The jokes never end. Well, Kyrie, I know obviously you don't have any girls, but what are some of the questions you may have? I know, you and your wife are done, or y'all still
Oh, no, we're done. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. We tried. We wanted a girl, but we didn't get one. So I don't know how I feel to raise a girl, but let's see. If I did have a question about, do you think being absolutely strict with your girl makes them want to go and do more, or do you think they kind of just listen to what you guys say? So do you think like really tightening the reins, trying to choke them down and not let them go out and discover? Do you think that helps you, or and they try to sneak out more? Like what's y'all views on that?
Good question. I'm gonna let Courtney start.
Yeah, I think so I've been on both sides of that table. You know, I was in a situation where, you know, I was really trying to be super protective and really just, you know, no, everything was no. And I had to come to the realization of like, hey, you know, as these girls get older, you know, like I can't just, you know, tie them down and, you know, put bars on their room and a bolt lock on their door, and you know, it is never gonna work. It's just never gonna work. So then I took the method of having real conversations. You know, my daughter's like, let's talk. You know, what boys you like, you know, and really getting an understanding. I think they really appreciate the fact of, you know, like they've come to me and, you know, talked about dating and stuff. And I was like, you can never date until the young man that wants to date you call me, you know. And after he called me, we have a conversation, then yeah, you know, I might allow you to, you know, go on a date or whatever, you know. But I've been really, really candid with him. You know, listen, these boys out here, the only thing they want is your draws. Once they get your draws, they out. They ain't trying to sit here and be with you. It's about conquering. They want to conquer a girl, you know, like so they can tell their friends, oh, I hit that, or, oh, I got that, or whatever, you know. So we all men, okay? And we know, you know, when we were young, teenagers and stuff, what we did. All right. And I constantly think about that, like, man, I know what I did. You know what I'm saying? And I was not nice with it. So you know, I'd be nervous. I'd be nervous.
All right, so y'all know what I'm about to go back to. So obviously last week's conversation we walk in the mall, we see the young lady and she thick. So, hey son, look at that. Yeah. All right, so
yep.
So what's that conversation like when you walk with your daughter? They start seeing men that they into. Now listen, I'm taking notes from here because again, my daughter is just turning her.
Well, you know, it ain't really no thing for Courtney because he go both ways, so he probably just. You know, he probably said, "Hey, daughter, you got on sweatpants."
So let's just be clear. I do not go both ways. We're gonna be real clear about that. So any of y'all men out there, y'all see me in the street looking me sideways, yo, I will throw them bows. You better know. All right. Yeah, I'm not walking in the mall with my daughter talking about, yo, look, no, like we're not gonna do that. And I said it last week. We had the podcast about the boys, you know. If you say it's a double standard, it's 110% a double standard. I'm not gonna sit here in front.
So what if your daughter having those conversations about boys? Like, so back to Kyrie's point about girls, you know, being fast. Like if you put too much strain in them, it doesn't create your daughter to be fast. So now you're walking in the mall, and your daughter's and let's say your daughters and her friends are walking in, all they're talking about is these dudes and they sweatpants, something like that. How do you curtail that? How do you, you know, cut that shit out? You know, what are you saying to them? Like, you know, because obviously, I mean, I don't think their moms would do that too, but what's that line? Because you don't want your daughter to be seen as fast.
Yeah, I don't go to the mall with them. I mean, I'm just like, you know, there's not many places where I mean, we go places, but, you know, at the end of the day, man, I mean, if my daughters, first of all, I don't think my daughters will talk like that in front of me.
Right. Okay.
Just out of respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that even if they thought it, they would probably walk up, you know, and then be whispering and laughing or whatever. But you got to understand, they're immature. What they think they want is not what they want. They just immature girls. They haven't got to a place of maturity where they understand, their body and what the boys really want, even though they think they know. They think they know. They think they're all dad, we know, we ain't finna do this and we ain't gonna do that, this and that. But it's very easy to get caught up in a situation where you at a party or whatever and you don't intend to do something. And then next thing you know, he in you. And you stuck. That's how quick it happens. So I just try to really, really be open with them and have really good dialogue, conversations, and try to tell them. And I mean, my daughter's down birth control. I mean, so we can go, around and around on that. I mean, my oldest daughter, she's about to be 18. She already has a son. She already got into a situation where it was like, oops,
Right.
it wasn't planned, but it happened. And now, I have a grandson, and I'm trying to continue to prepare my other two girls of, hey, yes, she made a mistake. She did what she did. Now she has a son that we 110% love, and he's the most amazing grandson ever. And I would not trade him for anything. But I want to make sure that my other daughters understand, like, okay, right now is not time. Okay, you still got so many things to do. And my oldest daughter got to work around a lot of different things at this point, because where her focus would have been school and going to college and all that, and that's still her focus, but she's gonna have help from myself and her mother. We're gonna help her, to make sure that the kid is good while she continues to get, her education and stuff, but she ain't have to be in that situation.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So again, because I think my daughter's still in that phase of me considering being innocent, but then that age is coming where that naive kind of goes away. You want to make sure. So the thing I love that you said too is, you're having that same conversation. So with your boys, obviously you're saying you need to use protection so that doesn't happen. And then you're doing the same thing with your girls. So that's consistency. So it's not an inconsistent moment, which, I think you have to. I think if you try to be naive to think that your daughter's going to behave a certain way, or you don't want to introduce certain things to them early. I've heard that before. Well, I don't want to have a conversation about this. So I don't want to do that because it's going to open them up to it. But they hear about it already.
Bro, with all the social media and stuff going on in the school, bro, they know more about sex and stuff out here than what we know. They're more experts on it than we are. Like, you have to take the stand to be able to protect them, because in a manner of, as they are naive, there's way bigger things that will screw up their life, like AIDS,
right?
Like, herpes, like things you can't get rid of. You know what I'm saying? And I be open and candid with them about this. I talk to them about those diseases and why you shouldn't do that, and why you could see a boy and you think that he's just clean and, he's so fine. And then he walking around with herpes and you don't even know. And now you got it. Think about you and your life, and you don't even think about the pregnancy. Think about the fact of you wanting in the future to be married, and you wanted in the future to have a family. But now you got this disease. So where this young man, that's a nice young man that would love to marry you, now he's going to put pause on it and say, whoa, I can't do that. I can't marry you because you got herpes or you got AIDS, and I don't want to take the risk of me getting it. So now you got to find somebody else that's got the same thing that you got that'll be okay. And it might be minimum people to choose from, which, I mean, this day and time, there's probably plenty to choose from. But, I'm just saying, you should never put yourself in a position to even have to be in that situation.
Real talk. Okay. All right. So the other thing about daughters is, and I mean, I think about, somebody that's got multiple daughters like you, Courtney. Right now, I got one. I used to always believe that if you had a bunch of daughters, that tell me something about your childhood, that tell me something about you back in the day. They say that's God's way of blessing you to show how you were a player, and now you got to deal with all the people you played. Yeah, I said it last week. I said, when you got a boy, you got to deal with one. you got a girl, you gotta deal with them all, so.
Yeah,
how's
I
that?
mean, if people know me, I was in the streets. Okay. I was the streets. Okay. All right. And at the end of the day, Kyrie shake his head,
Listen, I ain't never seen Kyrie. I mean, it's just a subject about daughters, but Kyrie just being so quiet over
you
here.
know. But look, at the end of the day, I feel like I said this last week. There's not a man on earth that's walking around that ain't got their particular challenges. You're dealing with something, Just so happened with me, God was like, all right, that's how you gonna act. I'm gonna give you twins. I got twin girls. He's like, I'm gonna give you a special. You don't have two at the same time and raise them and take care of them and all that, right? So he gave me 3 girls and two boys. So that's what we rocking with, man. It is what it is,
Well, listen, much respect to you, man. In all honesty, to raise teenage girls. I give you all the power in the world. Whatever you do to cope with it, whatever's in that cup, whatever you put in that cup, whatever it is that you cope with it with. Because I thank God for my one daughter, and I don't know if I could deal with multiple. So she's more than enough for all. I love you. Don't get me wrong, I love you, but whew, I can only imagine, boy, having 3 girls or 5 girls or But Kyrie, couple questions for you, bro. So you're getting ready to start back work this year. What's work looking like for you? I know you're ready, man.
I'm not ready. Actually, start back work tomorrow.
He's never ready to work.
It looked like it's gonna be a pretty good year though. My classroom, since I'm starting a new classroom, man, the new elementary school I'll be going to right now, I only really have 2 students in the class. So
Do they have a dress code?
That's amazing.
They have a dress code at school?
Why?
Wow.
Huh?
How does that matter?
Because you can't wear no dresses. Do they have a dress code? You can't wear no skirts this year. No skirts allowed this year.
You talking about
I'm talking about Kyrie. I'm talking about you can't wear no skirts this year. I mean, so that means you did all that waxing and getting your legs ready for no reason, right? All that for no reason.
Y'all call me the serious one. I'm gonna say Kyrie's the patient one. I promise you.
He over here sweating, y'all. He's sweating. He's sweating. He thought
I'm sweating because it's hot in Courtney's house.
No, he
It's
look.
like 85 degrees in the
Look.
room.
He over here sweating because he thought about that favorite mini skirt he wanted to put on and it's over.
No, sir.
Can't wear it this year.
No, sir.
Well, fellas, listen, man. I'm just grateful. I know this year my wife's getting ready to go back to school. Our kids are getting ready to go back to school. My daughter's actually going to be in the 5th grade this year. My oldest son is going to be a senior. Then my younger son is actually going into his sophomore year. So it's just a new year, man. It's a new year. We see out here in the streets already that these streets are crazy, man. There's a lot of things going on in these schools still. People, and not just outside. So there's a lot of people in the schools doing things. We never even talked about the influence of drugs and all that stuff you have in these schools, man. But shout out to everybody that's got kids going back to school in the South. Obviously, it's going to start back early than those up north. But shout out to everybody who's got kids going back to school. Love up on them kids, man. Let them know you love them. You never know when you see them again.
So let me just go ahead and prepare you, bro. Okay. When my daughter got pregnant, how I found out that she was even having sex was a text thread. So just so all you fellas, so they got all of these different apps,
Right.
Okay.
Snapchat,
that these kids are on, right? And my kids, they would, when they got ready to turn their phones in or at nighttime, they cut their phones off. Okay. And then they would delete the apps. So when you go on their phone, you don't even see the apps. So I went into the Play Store just to see, is there any apps that were downloaded, and seeing that there were apps that were downloaded. So I just started downloading apps. And when I started downloading the apps popped up and you've seen conversations. Because all the conversations that they left on was still there.
Mm.
And you've seen these conversations, and then when you look at these conversations, that's how I initially found out. So these kids, bro, they smart. They're not dumb. They are smart. They're not like us 80s babies where, you know, we didn't have all this technology. If I was gonna talk to
So
a
you
girl,
wouldn't have found out though.
yeah, if I was gonna talk to a girl, I'd talk to the girl on my house phone. And guess who's on the other line of that house phone on the other end? My mama. Listening. Talking about, get off that phone right now and go to bed. Right?
I think everybody had that.
Right?
Mhm.
So you didn't have the freedom that you have now. So, fellas, the thing I'll tell you, it is way easier to have great conversations. Because if I was listening to my daughters,
You would know.
I would have known because my twins told us, hey, Ayana, you guys should be talking to Ayana because you know kids talk to each other when they don't talk to their parents. And they made a comment to us, hey, you guys, you always talk to us about this and that. You should talk to Ayana. And they even named the person. And we instantly like, no, ain't no way, you know, there's no way. And they were 100% telling the truth.
So yeah, so that goes back to my point. Do we play naive? Because we just don't want to believe that. We don't want to believe that. But I guess you've learned from experience. You said something earlier. You said, because I used to think this can't be the truth, but technology has changed that. You said children are so much smarter than us. And I used to always think to myself, well, they're doing no thing different than we did because we did all those things. Like, I ain't gonna lie, the first time I was with a girl, I was 14 years old. And both of my kids are beyond 14 years old, and I don't know whether they've had sex or not. But I mean, I know what their mindset is at this age. So it's not that they've experienced things that I've done differently, but it's technology that's made them a lot more smarter than we are.
Yeah, it's
The
giving them
resources
access.
they have.
Do y'all remember how your parents found out that you were sexually active?
My parents didn't care.
I don't think mine found out. So
My mother and father didn't care.
I lost my virginity at 16. Okay. In my neighbor's closet. All right. I'm just and I'm gonna tell you, I was inexperienced.
They wasn't your neighbor, was it?
No. My girlfriend, but I was inexperienced. I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
Because I'm 16 years old, I don't know what to do. You know, I had a condom, I put the condom on, I stuck it in, I laid there.
Yes.
I laid there. I just laid on top of her. I'm in. I just laid on her. And she was like, are you gonna move or do anything? I'm like, you don't feel it?
Good boy. Good boy could have been watching the porn. He was talking about he was watching the tape. What was they doing on there? He must have been watching some old brand.
You trying to laugh long.
I was like, you don't feel it? She's like, yes, I do. I was just laying there, okay? I mean, you know, I'm laying in there. I'm on the closet floor. I'm laying in you know, I'm looking at her. She looking at me. I'm looking at her. She look annoyed.
Right.
Like, ain't nothing happening. I'm like, I started kind of get a complex. I said, don't you feel it? And she like, yes, but you're not. Let's just stop. And I'm like, no. No. Like, help me help you. Like, let's help each other. But, you know, anyway, we figured it out.
Not me, man.
We figured it out.
I remember my first time, and it wasn't any of that. It was first time her mom left. It was off of both our first times. But in all honesty, though, you said something earlier. You asked about do our parents know? My parents could care less about when I had sex.
I was just asking when did your parents find out? Courtney didn't told the whole story.
I tell you, my mother was more upset that I didn't have kids than I didn't get married. Like, she was like, "Are you having sex? Like, why you? I'm 23 years old. My mother wanted to know why I ain't had no kids yet." My answer was, "I ain't married." She didn't get it. No, she wanted me to have a kid, but this is what we believe in. Yeah,
man. I mean, hey.
How about you, Kyrie? You didn't say.
I mean, I think me, my mom, and my brother was having a conversation, and my mom.
That was gonna be really weird when you said that for a minute. I was
Me,
like,
my
you, your mom,
and
my
my
brother.
brother was having a conversation. Was having a conversation, and my mom said, well, since y'all both virgins, and then I guess I kind of forgot, you know, the audience at that time. I'm like, who a virgin? She was like, y'all better be virgins. So I wasn't a virgin at the time, but
How old was you?
I was 16, actually, yeah. I was actually 16, so um that's how she found out. And then of course she started, you know, because again, my father wasn't there, so then she felt like she needed to give us a whole rundown about we need to wear our raincoat, because that's what she called the condoms, and giving the whole spiel about she too young to be a grandma, so you're gonna be taking care of your kids on your own and all that good stuff. So I guess that was a good deterrent for me not to have kids until I graduated.
So how much you had to pay for your first time?
No,
I didn't. I didn't.
nah.
What?
I know what I paid my first time. It was a 50-cent bus fare to get my butt home. That's all it was.
I paid Courtney no attention when you say crazy thing.
Listen, shout out to my boy, I won't say yeah, I'll say your mom, Miss Pugh. Shout out to Miss Pugh. She was actually the first one to have a real conversation about what you shouldn't do, what you should be strapping on. Because again, I told you, my grandfather was showing me Kama Sutra magazines and porno magazines at 11, 12 years old. So I didn't have that right person to say you shouldn't do these things. But shout out to Miss Pugh. You definitely held it down for me, your daughter, your son, for us to know the right thing to do when you having sex. So shout out.
You maybe, you know, your granddad had a different agenda. He was just making sure that you was into what he was into.
Right.
You know, he conquered his goal. He could care less whether it wasn't when you did it. He was making sure you was doing it with the right ones.
Listen, I ain't mad at it, but it's definitely something I still struggle with. So hey, listen,
So
you got those things you struggle with.
What you trying to say, bro? His granddaddy didn't want him doing it with somebody that's a male figure?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Without saying it.
Okay, all right. I mean, you know, just, you know, put it out there. Look, we ain't biased. You living your life. You know what I'm saying? If you do that, hey, that's on you. But you know, we don't roll that way. We do live in Atlanta.
Courtney do sometimes.
We do live in Atlanta though. We do live in Atlanta though. So
yes, so we don't get censored. So this is as a man thinks. Right. Be ready for our next, sir. We're definitely gonna have a podcast coming up here soon. We'll be talking about some fun subjects and some things that's really gonna make you enjoy. Hopefully you enjoyed talking about our daughters. We know you all enjoyed. We started shout outs and all of the viewers were talking about our boys. But we look forward for you all to comment in there. Definitely come back. Let us know what you think. What are your best ways that you have raising your children, whether it's your sons, your daughters? And hey, shout out to those people who don't physically have children, but they're raising somebody else's children. Shout out to you all. So any other thoughts you all have on raising kids?
yeah, I want to say any of y'all people that don't have kids, stop trying to tell people that do have kids how to take care of their kids, how to raise their kids. Go have your own kids first, then you can tell somebody how to raise a kid. That's all I'm doing.
All right, of course, just like always, y'all can reach us on YouTube, but a lot of people might like Spotify or whatever stream that you listen to. Listen to us in the car. Also, if you do watch us on YouTube, please leave a comment. Or if you're not a part of the As a Man Things group, reach out to us. We'll definitely be happy to make you a part of the group. And leave some ideas, some topics that you guys may want us to talk about. Something that you may want to listen to or ain't riding to work, just to get our point of view of whatever it is that you're thinking about. So again, asamanthinks.org, you can definitely reach us there. YouTube and any stream except maybe Apple, I think. But other than that,
As a man thinks.
As a man, thanks.